Drew told me I look like a teenage boy, and I don't think he's wrong. I think I look and sound like a teenage boy, an emo teenage boy. Anyways, I am finally learning what it means to be in the now, like in terms of managing my thoughts. So, sadness and depression is connected to living in the past, and anxiety and worrying is connected to living in the future. With that said, I remind myself of these things. So if I have an anxious thought, I just bring myself back into I'll handle that when I get there. Like I trusted my abilities to handle that when I get there. Or if there's an actionable item that's attached to that worry, focus on that instead of like this generalized sensation of the future. So if there's a task that needs to be done, what's something that I can work on today or make plans about today and do that, because that's coming back to the now. Or if it's a depressive thought or feeling, focusing, I can't go back to the future or back to the past or change those things, but what I can do is take away the lessons I learned from those experiences and apply them to my life today and be grateful for the knowledge that I now possess because of those experiences. And I gotta be honest, I really felt like an open, like awakening of this yesterday, where like it really clicked in some way. So I just have to really practice that more and lean into that more, and it'll just become second nature to me, and it won't take so much effort to bring myself to do that. Um, but the thing that I've really been working hard on is, excuse me, choosing to be a safe person for people. And it takes a lot of intentions to do that, especially for people who are difficult. Like the whole saying of people des- people need love the most when they deserve it the least. It's easy to recognize that, but it's hard to be a safe person for someone who would fit that expression of deserving it the least. And I've always felt that I want to be that for other people, but I struggled with like maintaining a boundary for myself to allow myself to do that without experiencing compassion fatigue. So I've been working on boundaries lately, and I truly feel like I've gotten better about that. But it's really hard to not go into this place of like frustration and annoyance and kind of like, why do you have to be that way? Or how can you say that or be that? And then I have to remind myself gently, like, I've been that person many times, and this is the strong motivation that I've had people along the way where I wasn't the kindest person and they still showed me kindness, or they were like, now I'm thinking of the quote, be the person you needed when you were younger. Like, people were that person that I needed. Not always, but when it mattered, and yeah, so just focusing on doing that's like a big goal for me. And a big way to be a safe person is to be judgment free, I think. Like, not labeling things good or bad, right or wrong, is just how can I say that? It's not having a moral guide. So it's like I already have like establishing what my moral guide is and using that as my compass and using that to develop the boundaries and my perspective on life and how I live it. But even with that, like just know that I'm fully in control of myself and the way that I choose to live my life, but I'm not in control of other people's intentions. I'm not in control of like anything else for other people. All I can control is how I engage, interact, and show up for them. Interact with them, show up for them. So when I'm having the conversations with them, if they're saying like things that I find to be offensive or things that are cause of concern, just have an honest, transparent conversation with them. That takes away judgment. And the big thing that keeps coming to mind is um, like the support group that I'm a part of, it came up like I was the example, and I was having a um, what's it called, a role play conversation where I was talking and I was saying in the role play, when you are sarcastic, I feel like you're dismissing me. When you make sarcastic remarks, I feel like you're dismissing me. And then it was brought to my attention that using the word being dismissive is judgmental. So I was encouraged to like rephrase that just to take away the likelihood of the person I'm having the conversation with from shutting down and becoming defensive, because then it's no longer open channels of communication on both sides. And so then I thought about it and then I said, when you make sarcastic remarks, I feel as though it puts an end to the conversation that we're having. And I can appreciate that that one is less judgmental, even though if it wasn't brought to my attention, I probably would have like pushed back on dismissive being judgmental. But I can see how that one leaves more room for dialogue, whereas me saying something is dismissive, like I can see how that can be interpreted as blaming the other person, like this is what you're doing wrong and this is what you need to change, versus like this is what I'm observing. Because if I just phrase it as like this is what I'm observing, this is how I'm experiencing this conversation, it leaves more room for them to do the same without feeling that there's this expectation for them to take action. Whereas, how can I say, is it takes away the fact of like you need to comfort me by doing this. Is I'm taking ownership for myself and allowing them to do the same. Whether or not they choose to do that is on them, and I have no control over. But a big thing that I really also had to work on is getting rid of this whole thing of like, there's no point in me saying anything because they're not going to do anything. Like, just making excuses, basically, of like, there's no point in having this difficult conversation or addressing um, this annoyance I have because I'm not going to get my desired outcome. So, really focusing on the connection part of it, I guess, because even if I don't get the desired outcome that I have, I would have at least expressed my concern, or I would have at least said my piece and just be okay with the fact that I voiced whatever it is that I wanted to voice. Like, if it falls on deaf ears, that's still an outcome. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is I need to stop silencing myself, one, and two, um, I don't know, I'm thinking of more quotes, like it's taken a long time to become the person that I want to be, but yeah, the person that I really want to be is someone, actually, uh, maybe I'll make a different video about that. I'll title this My Ramblings.